"I'm sorry," she whispers, dropping to her knees for the third time tonight. Her hands shake as she tries to gather the pieces of the dinner plate, but they won't stop trembling. They haven't stopped trembling in weeks. "That's the second plate in an hour, Cassidy." Marcus, the floor manager, towers over her, his voice sharp enough to cut. "Do you have any idea how much these cost?" She does. Each plate costs more than she makes in a day, more than she can afford to lose, more than she can afford to replace when Marcus inevitably deducts it from her paycheck. Again. "I'll pay for it," she says, though she doesn't know how. The words taste like ash in her mouth. Around her, the restaurant buzzes with the kind of wealth she'll never touch. Crystal chandeliers cast golden light over tables where men in $1,000 suits discuss deals worth millions. Women dripping in diamonds laugh at jokes that probably aren't funny, sipping wine that costs more than Cassidy's rent. She doesn't belong here. She knows it. They know it. And lately, someone else knows it too. Before we continue, please prove my mom wrong. She says I can't hit 1,000 subscribers. Okay, let's continue. "Get up," Marcus hisses. "You're making a scene." But when Cassidy tries to stand, her legs don't want to cooperate. The exhaustion hits her in waves now. The fear hits her harder. That's when she sees him. He's seated at table 12, the corner booth reserved for the restaurant's most elite clientele. Cassidy has served him twice before, though served feels like the wrong word. Both times, she'd felt like a specimen under glass, studied with an intensity that made her skin prickle. He'd tipped well. Too well. The kind of tip that felt less like generosity, and more like something else. Ownership, maybe. Tonight, his dark eyes are fixed on her as she kneels among the broken porcelain, and for a moment, Cassidy forgets to breathe. Lucian Thorne. That's the name on the reservation. That's the only name anyone says with a mixture of reverence and fear. He owns half the city, or so the rumors go. Real estate, tech companies, import-export businesses that no one questions too closely. His presence at Aurelius, the most exclusive restaurant in Seattle, shouldn't be remarkable. But it is, because Lucian Thorne doesn't just own businesses, he owns rooms. He walks in, and the air changes. Conversation's quiet. People straighten in their chairs. Even Marcus, who treats the waitstaff like disposable napkins, becomes deferential when Lucian Thorne arrives. And right now, Lucian Thorne is watching Cassidy with the focus of a predator who's spotted wounded prey. She manages to stand clutching the broken pieces in her apron. "I'm fine," she says to no one in particular. To everyone. To the universe that seems determined to grind her into dust. "You're not fine." The voice is low, smooth, and it doesn't come from Marcus. Cassidy looks up. Lucian has risen from his table. He's crossing the restaurant floor with measured steps, and every eye in the room follows him. He's tall, easily 6'2", with the kind of build that suggests both elegance and violence. His suit is black, perfectly tailored, and probably costs more than her car. Used to cost more than her car, before it died last month. His face is angular, beautiful in a way that doesn't seem quite human. Sharp cheekbones, a jaw that could be carved from marble, and those eyes. Dark, almost black, with an intensity that makes Cassidy want to look away and never stop looking at the same time. "Mr. Thorne," Marcus begins, his voice oily with deference. "I apologize for the disturbance. You were just humiliating an employee in front of your guests." Lucian's tone doesn't rise, but the temperature in the room seems to drop. "I suggest you return to the kitchen. Now." Marcus's mouth opens and closes like a fish. Then he retreats, practically scurrying away. Lucian turns his attention to Cassidy, and she feels pinned by his gaze. "Are you hurt?" "No, I'm okay." "You're trembling." She looks down at her hands. He's right. They're shaking so badly she nearly drops the broken porcelain all over again. I'm tired. Long shift." "That's not exhaustion." He steps closer, and Cassidy catches his scent. Something expensive. Cedar and night air and something else. Something darker that she can't quite name. That's fear. The word hangs between them like a blade. Cassidy wants to deny it. She wants to laugh it off, to make some joke about how clumsy she's been lately, how she needs more sleep, how she's just having a bad week. But the lie won't come. Instead, tears prick at her eyes, hot and humiliating. "I need to get back to work," she manages. "You need to sit down before you collapse." It's not a suggestion. Lucien reaches out, and his hand closes around her elbow. His touch is cool, gentle, and impossibly strong. "Come with me. I can't just—" "I own the restaurant, Cassidy. You can." The words stop her cold. "You—" "What?" "I bought Aurelius 6 months ago." His expression doesn't change, but something flickers in his eyes. Amusement, maybe. Or calculation. "Which makes me your employer, and as your employer, I'm telling you to sit down." Before she can protest, he's guiding her through the restaurant, past the staring diners, past the scandalized hostess to a private dining room at the back. The door closes behind them with a soft click, and suddenly the noise of the restaurant fades to a distant hum. The room is smaller than the main floor, more intimate. A single table sits in the center, already set for 2. Candles flicker in the dim light. "Sit," Lucien says, pulling out a chair. Cassidy sits, mostly because her legs give out. He settles into the chair across from her, and for a long moment he simply looks at her. Really looks at her. Not the way men usually look at her, with hunger or dismissal. This is different. This is evaluation, assessment. The way a chess player studies the board. "How long?" he asks finally. "How long what? How long has someone been following you?" The room tilts. Cassidy grips the edge of the table, her knuckles white. Don't lie to me." His voice is still soft, but there's steel underneath. "I've been watching you, Cassidy. 3 nights ago, you arrived at work 20 minutes late. You told Marcus you had car trouble, but you didn't. You were shaking then, too. 2 nights ago, you dropped a tray of drinks and blamed it on slippery hands. Last night, you left through the back exit instead of the front, and you kept looking over your shoulder. You've been watching me?" The question comes out sharper than she intends. "I notice things." Lucien leans back in his chair, his expression unreadable. "And I notice when someone is afraid. So I'll ask you again. How long?" Cassidy wants to lie. She wants to deflect, to make excuses, to protect herself the way she's been protecting herself for the past month. But something in Lucien's gaze strips away her defenses. 5 weeks, she whispers. "It started 5 weeks ago." "Tell me." And God help her, she does. The words spill out like water from a broken dam. She tells him about Devin, her ex-boyfriend, how they dated for 6 months before she realized he wasn't just possessive, he was dangerous. How she'd tried to break up with him, and he'd smiled and told her that would never happen. How she'd moved apartments, changed her phone number, blocked him on every social media platform. How none of it mattered. Because Devin always found her. At the grocery store, at the gym, outside her new apartment. He never said anything, never threatened her directly. He just appeared, always watching, always waiting. "I went to the police," Cassidy says, and her voice cracks. "They said they couldn't do anything unless he actually threatened me. They said I should keep a record, take photos, document everything." She laughs, and it sounds broken, as if a piece of paper is going to stop him when he decides to make his move. "He's escalating," Lucien says quietly. "Yes." The word is barely a breath. "Last week, I found him standing outside the restaurant. Just standing there in the parking lot, staring at the door. And yesterday," she swallows hard. "Yesterday, I found a note on my car. It said, 'You can't hide forever.'" Lucien's expression doesn't change, but something in the room shifts. The air grows colder, heavier. When he speaks again, his voice is soft as silk and twice as dangerous. "Where is he now?" "I don't know. That's the problem. I never know." "Show me the note." Cassidy hesitates, then reaches into her apron pocket. The paper is crumpled, stained with sweat and fear. She smooths it out on the table between them. Lucian picks it up, studying it with the same intensity he'd studied her. "Do you have somewhere safe to stay?" I'm fine at my apartment. I changed the locks." "That's not what I asked." Cassidy meets his gaze, and something in her chest tightens. "No. I don't have anywhere safe." For a long moment, Lucien is silent. Then he folds the note carefully and slips it into his jacket pocket. "You do now." "What?" "You're going to come home with me tonight." The words should sound absurd. Dangerous, even. A strange man, a wealthy man, a man she barely knows, inviting her to his home. Every instinct Cassidy has should be screaming at her to refuse. But instead, she feels relief. "I can't," she says anyway because she has to. I barely know you. You know I own this restaurant. You know I'm wealthy enough to make problems disappear." Lucian's eyes hold hers. "And you know, on some level, that I'm not going to hurt you." "How do I know that?" "Because if I wanted to hurt you, Cassidy, I would have done it already." He says it matter-of-factly, without malice. "I've had 3 opportunities. I've taken none of them. That should tell you something." It does. It tells her that Lucian Thorne is dangerous in ways she doesn't fully understand. But it also tells her that his danger isn't directed at her. "Why?" she asks. "Why do you care what happens to me?" Something flickers across Lucian's face. For just a moment, the mask slips, and Cassidy glimpses something underneath. Something old and hungry and painfully, achingly alone. Then it's gone. "Because," he says simply, "I can." It's not enough of an answer, but it's the only one he's going to give her. Cassidy takes a shaky breath. "Okay. Okay? Okay, I'll come with you, just for tonight." Lucian's expression doesn't change, but she sees satisfaction flash in his eyes. "Good. We'll leave through the back. I'll have someone collect your things from your apartment tomorrow. I need to finish my shift." "Your shift is over." He stands, moving with that same predatory grace. "You're done working at Aurelius." "But I need the money." "You'll continue to be paid. Consider it administrative leave." Lucian extends his hand. "Come with me, Cassidy, before your stalker realizes you're still here." She takes his hand. His skin is cool, almost cold, but his grip is steady. Strong. He leads her through the back corridors of the restaurant, past the kitchen where line cooks work in organized chaos, past the storage rooms and staff lockers. They exit through a service door into the alley behind Aurelius. A black car waits there. Not a sedan. A Bentley gleaming under the streetlights like a sleek panther. A driver stands beside it. A broad-shouldered man in a dark suit who nods respectfully when Lucian approaches. "Mr. Thorne." "Matthias, this is Cassidy. She'll be staying at the estate." Matthias doesn't even blink. "Of course, sir." The estate. Not an apartment. Not a house. An estate. Cassidy climbs into the back seat, and the leather is softer than anything she's ever touched. Lucian slides in beside her, and Matthias closes the door with a muted thunk. As they pull away from the restaurant, Cassidy watches the city lights blur past the tinted windows. She should feel nervous. She should feel terrified. She's getting into a car with a strange man, going to his home, trusting him on nothing but instinct and desperation. But instead, for the first time in 5 weeks, she feels safe. "Tell me about yourself," Lucian says, breaking the silence. Cassidy glances at him. "What do you want to know?" "Everything." He says it like he means it. "Start with why you're working at Aurelius." So she does. She tells him about her degree in graphic design, how she'd moved to Seattle 3 years ago, with dreams of working for one of the big tech companies, how she'd landed a few freelance gigs, nothing steady, how her mother got sick last year, and the medical bills had eaten through her savings, how she'd taken the job at Aurelius because it paid better than most, even if it meant swallowing her pride every night. "Your mother," Lucian says. "Is she..." Still alive. Barely. Cassidy's throat tightens. She's in a care facility in Portland. The good kind, the kind that actually takes care of their patients. But it's expensive. How expensive? She names the figure, and Lucian doesn't even flinch. That's manageable, he says. For you, maybe. For you too, as of tomorrow. Lucian meets her gaze. I'm going to make you an offer, Cassidy. You don't have to accept it, but I want you to think about it. What kind of offer? I need someone I can trust. Someone intelligent, observant, and loyal. Someone who understands what it means to be vulnerable. His voice is measured, careful. I'm offering you a position in my organization. Not as a waitress, as my personal assistant. Cassidy's breath catches. Your what? The pay is substantial. 6 figures with full benefits. Your mother's care will be covered in full for as long as she needs it. You'll have access to security, resources, and protection from anyone who might wish you harm. It sounds too good to be true. It sounds like a fairy tale. What's the catch? The catch, Lucian says, is that you'll belong to me. The words send a shiver down Cassidy's spine. Not fear. Something else. Something darker and infinitely more dangerous. I don't understand. You will. Lucian turns back to the window. We're here. The car pulls through massive iron gates that swing open silently. Beyond them, a driveway winds through manicured gardens, past fountains and topiaries that look like something from a European palace. And at the end of the drive, illuminated by spotlights, stands the house. Except house is the wrong word. Mansion, maybe. Estate, definitely. It's 3 stories of stone and glass and Gothic elegance, with towers and balconies and windows that glow like honey in the darkness. You live here? Cassidy breathes. I exist here, Lucian says. There's a difference. Matthias opens the door, and Lucian steps out, extending his hand to help Cassidy. She takes it, and he pulls her gently from the car. The front door opens before they reach it. A woman stands in the entrance, older, maybe 60, with silver hair pulled into a neat bun. She's wearing a simple black dress and an expression of calm competence. Mr. Thorne, she says, her voice warm. I prepared the guest suite. Thank you, Iris. Lucian places his hand on the small of Cassidy's back, guiding her forward. This is Cassidy. She'll be staying with us indefinitely. Iris's eyes flicker with something. Surprise, maybe. Or understanding. But all she says is, Welcome, dear. You must be exhausted. Cassidy nods because suddenly she is. The adrenaline is wearing off. And in its place comes a bone-deep weariness that makes her legs feel like lead. I'll show you to your room, Iris continues. There are clothes in the dresser, and the bathroom is fully stocked. If you need anything at all, just pick up the phone. It connects directly to my quarters. Thank you, Cassidy manages. Lucian catches her wrist gently. Get some rest. We'll talk more tomorrow. She wants to ask him what they'll talk about. She wants to ask what belong to me means. She wants to ask why his skin is so cold, and why his eyes seem to glow in the dim light, and why she feels like she's stepped into a dream. But exhaustion wins. She follows Iris up a sweeping staircase, down a hallway lined with paintings that probably cost more than she'll earn in her lifetime, to a room that's bigger than her entire apartment. Sleep well, dear, Iris says softly and closes the door. Cassidy stands in the center of the room, looking around. A 4-poster bed dominates the space, piled high with pillows and covered in silk sheets. French doors lead to a private balcony. A chandelier sparkles overhead. She should feel out of place. She should feel like an imposter. Instead, she feels like she's come home. Cassidy changes into the silk pajamas she finds in the dresser, washes her face in the marble bathroom, and climbs into bed. The sheets are cool against her skin, impossibly soft. She closes her eyes, and for the first time in 5 weeks, she sleeps without fear. She wakes to sunlight streaming through the curtains and the smell of coffee. For a moment, Cassidy doesn't remember where she is. Then it comes back in a rush. The restaurant, the broken plates, Lucian Thorne and his impossible offer. She sits up, and that's when she sees him. Lucian is standing on her balcony, his back to her, looking out over the grounds. He's wearing black slacks and a white shirt, the sleeves rolled up to his elbows. Even from behind, he looks like something out of a painting. Cassidy slips out of bed and pads to the balcony doors. "Good morning." He turns, and there's something in his expression that makes her breath catch. Something hungry, but when he speaks, his voice is perfectly controlled. "Good morning. Did you sleep well?" "Better than I have in weeks." "Good." He gestures to a small table where coffee and pastries wait. "I had Iris bring breakfast. I thought we could talk." Cassidy pours herself coffee, and the warmth seeps into her hands. "About your offer?" "About what it means." Lucian settles into the chair across from her. "I wasn't entirely honest with you last night." Her stomach drops. "What do you mean?" "I didn't bring you here just because you need protection." His eyes hold hers. "I brought you here because I want you." The words hang in the air between them, heavy with implication. "I don't understand," Cassidy says, though part of her thinks she does. "You will." Lucian leans forward. "I'm going to tell you something, Cassidy. Something I've told very few people. And when I'm done, you're going to have a choice to make." "What kind of choice?" "Whether to stay or leave." His expression is unreadable. Whether to be mine or walk away. Cassidy's heart hammers in her chest. "I'm listening." And Lucian Thorne begins to speak. He tells her about his life. About the centuries he's lived. About the night, 200 years ago, when he died and woke up something else. Something stronger. Something faster. Something that needs blood to survive. He tells her about the empire he's built. About the others like him who live in the shadows. About the careful balance between his world and hers. He tells her about power and loneliness and the weight of immortality. And when he's done, Cassidy sits in stunned silence. "You're a vampire," she says finally. "Yes. That's impossible." "And yet." Lucian's smile is sharp. "Here I am." Cassidy should run. She should laugh in his face. She should call for help, call for a psychiatrist, call for anyone. But instead, she thinks about the coldness of his skin, the way his eyes seem to glow, the way he moves, too fast, too fluid, the way he'd known, somehow, that she was in danger. "Prove it," she says. Lucian's smile widens, and then he moves. One moment, he's sitting across from her. The next, he's behind her chair, his hand resting lightly on her shoulder. Cassidy gasps, spinning around, but he's already back in his seat, looking perfectly composed. "Satisfied?" he asks. Cassidy's mind races. "This is insane." "Yes, you're insane. Possibly." Lucian's expression softens. "But I'm also the only person who can keep you safe from Devon. The only person with the resources, the connections, and the willingness to eliminate the threat he poses." Cassidy's breath catches. "Eliminate? I'm not going to kill him." Lucian's voice is calm, almost gentle. "Not unless you want me to. But I am going to make sure he never comes near you again. I'm going to make sure he understands that you are under my protection, that you belong to me, and that anyone who touches you will answer to me." The possessiveness in his voice should frighten her. Instead, it sends heat pooling in her stomach. "Why?" she asks again. "Why me?" "Because you're stronger than you know." Lucian reaches across the table, and his fingers brush hers. "Because you kept going when most people would have broken. Because when I look at you, I see something I haven't seen in a very long time." "What?" "Hope." The word breaks something in Cassidy's chest. Tears sting her eyes, and she blinks them away furiously. "I don't know if I can do this." You can. Lucian's hand closes around hers, cool and steady. You're already doing it. You just need to decide if you want to keep doing it alone, or if you want to let me help you. Cassidy looks down at their joined hands. His skin is pale, almost translucent in the sunlight. She can see the veins underneath, dark and still. No pulse. Because he doesn't have one. If I stay, she says slowly, if I accept your offer, what does belonging to you actually mean? It means, Lucian says, that I will protect you, provide for you, care for you. It means that you will have a place in my life, in my world. It means that when you walk into a room, people will know that you are mine, and they will treat you accordingly. And in return, you give me your trust, your loyalty. His thumb strokes across her knuckles. Your presence. I've been alone for a very long time, Cassidy. I'm tired of being alone. It should sound like a business transaction. Cold, calculated. But there's something in Lucian's voice, something raw and real, that makes Cassidy's heart ache. I need to think, she says. Take all the time you need. Lucian releases her hand and stands. But while you're thinking, know this. I've already taken care of your mother's medical bills. As of this morning, they're paid in full, for the next 5 years. Cassidy's head snaps up. You... what? Consider it a gift. No strings attached. He moves to the balcony railing, looking out over the grounds. Whether you stay or go, your mother will be cared for. You have my word. The tears come then, hot and fast. Cassidy covers her face with her hands, and her shoulders shake with sobs she's been holding back for months. All the fear, all the stress, all the crushing weight of bills she couldn't pay and futures she couldn't afford. Gone. Just like that. She feels arms around her, cool and strong. Lucian pulls her against his chest, and she cries into his shirt while he holds her. He doesn't speak. He doesn't tell her it's going to be okay, or offer meaningless platitudes. He just holds her. And somehow that's enough. When the tears finally stop, Cassidy pulls back, wiping at her eyes. I'm sorry. Don't be. Lucian brushes a strand of hair from her face. Grief is nothing to apologize for. It's not grief. It's... She trails off, searching for the word. Relief, terror, hope. All of it at once. I know the feeling. Cassidy looks up at him. Really looks at him. In the sunlight, she can see the inhuman perfection of his features. The way his skin doesn't quite reflect light the way it should. The way his eyes are too dark, too deep. He's beautiful. And he's terrifying. And he's offering her everything she's ever wanted. Okay, she says. Lucian goes very still. Okay? I'll stay. I'll work for you. I'll... She takes a shaky breath. I'll belong to you, if you'll have me. Something flashes in Lucian's eyes. Something fierce and possessive and utterly triumphant. If I'll have you? Cassidy, I've wanted you from the moment I saw you drop that first tray. I've watched you fight and struggle and refuse to break. You're magnificent. Of course I'll have you. He cups her face in his hands, and his touch is gentle despite the hunger in his gaze. But I need you to understand something. Once you're mine completely. I don't share. I don't let go. If you agree to this, there's no going back. I understand. Do you? Lucian's voice drops to a whisper. Because I'm not talking about a job, Cassidy. I'm talking about something much more than that. Her heart pounds. What are you talking about? I'm talking about forever. His thumb brushes across her cheekbone. I'm talking about turning you into what I am, making you immortal, binding you to me in ways that transcend any human understanding. The words should terrify her. They should send her running. But instead, Cassidy feels a strange calm settle over her. Not yet, she says. I'm not ready for that. Not yet. But someday. She meets his gaze. Someday, maybe I will be. Lucian's smile is slow and devastating. Someday is enough. For now. And then he kisses her. It's nothing like she expected. Nothing like the kisses from her past, fumbling and uncertain. This is different. This is claiming. His mouth moves over hers with absolute confidence, and when his tongue traces her lower lip, Cassidy opens for him without thinking. He tastes like darkness and eternity, and something wild she can't name. His hands slide into her hair, tilting her head back, and Cassidy melts against him. When they finally break apart, she's breathing hard. Lucian isn't breathing at all. "Come with me," he says, and there's a rough edge to his voice now. "There's something I want to show you." He leads her through the mansion, down hallways lined with art and antiquities that probably belong in museums. They descend a staircase into what Cassidy assumes is a basement, but when Lucienne opens the door, she realizes it's so much more than that. It's an archive. Floor-to-ceiling shelves hold books and scrolls and artifacts from what looks like every century of human history. In the center of the room, a massive desk sits covered in papers and maps and documents. "This is my collection," Lucian says, and there's pride in his voice. 2 centuries of history, art, literature, science. I've preserved pieces of the world as it changed around me. Cassidy walks forward, running her fingers along the spines of books. Some are so old the titles have faded. Others look like they were bound yesterday. "Why are you showing me this?" "Because," Lucian says, "I want you to understand what I'm offering you. Not just wealth, not just protection, but knowledge, history, a place in something larger than yourself." Cassidy turns to face him. "And what do you get?" "You." The word is simple, absolute. I get to watch you grow into your power. I get to see you discover what you're capable of. I get to have someone by my side who understands what it means to fight for survival. He crosses to her, and his expression is raw in a way she hasn't seen before. "I've been alone for so long, Cassidy. I've had lovers, companions, even friends. But I've never had someone who was truly mine. Someone I could trust with all of this." He gestures to the room around them. "Someone I could trust with me. You barely know me. I know enough." Lucian takes her hands. "I know you're brave. I know you're stubborn. I know you don't give up, even when you probably should. And I know that when you look at me, you don't see a monster. You see possibility." He's right. She does. "So," Lucian says softly, "what do you say, Cassidy? Will you let me be yours as much as you are mine?" And standing in this room full of history, full of centuries of human achievement and suffering and triumph, Cassidy realizes that this is her moment, her choice, her chance to step out of the shadows and into something bigger. "Yes," she whispers. "Yes, I will." Lucian's smile is blinding, and then he's kissing her again, deeper this time, more urgent. His hands slide down her sides, over the silk of her pajamas, and Cassidy gasps into his mouth. "Not here," he murmurs against her lips. "I want to do this properly." He leads her back upstairs, through hallways that blur together, to a room she hasn't seen before. His room, she realizes. The master suite. It's enormous, dominated by a bed that looks like it belongs in a castle. Dark wood and burgundy silk and shadows that seem to pool in the corners. "This is where I sleep," Lucian says, though sleep seems like the wrong word for whatever vampires do. "This is where I want you." He pulls her to the bed, and they fall together onto sheets that smell like him, like cedar and night, and something older than memory. His hands are everywhere, pulling at her clothes, and Cassidy helps him, tugging at his shirt until buttons scatter across the floor. His skin is pale as marble, smooth and cool under her hands. She traces the muscles of his chest, his stomach, and Lucian makes a sound low in his throat that's almost a growl. "You're going to destroy me," he says, and it sounds like a prayer. "Good," Cassidy breathes and pulls him down to her. What happens next is fire and ice. passion and control. The meeting of mortal and immortal in ways that leave Cassidy gasping. Lucian is gentle despite the hunger in his eyes, careful despite the strength in his hands. He worships her body like it's something sacred, something precious. And when they finally come together, when he moves inside her with a precision that steals her breath, Cassidy feels something shift in the universe. Like a door opening, like a choice being made, like destiny clicking into place. Afterward, they lie tangled together, and Cassidy traces patterns on Lucian's chest. What happens now? Now, Lucian says. I deal with Devon. The name is like ice water on her skin. She'd almost forgotten. How? Leave that to me. Lucian's voice is dark with promise. By this time tomorrow, he'll be out of Seattle, out of Washington, out of your life, permanently. You said you wouldn't kill him. I won't. But I will make him understand what happens to people who threaten what's mine. He rolls over, pinning her beneath him, and his eyes glow in the dim light. You're under my protection now, Cassidy. No one touches you. No one threatens you. No one even looks at you wrong without answering to me. The possessiveness should be suffocating. Instead, it's intoxicating. When? She asks. Tonight. I'm taking you to Aurelius. Cassidy blinks. What? Why? Because everyone needs to see. Lucian's smile is sharp as a blade. They need to see that you're mine. They need to understand that the woman they watched scrub floors and drop plates is now untouchable. They need to witness your transformation. I don't understand. You will. He kisses her forehead. Trust me. That evening, Cassidy finds herself back in the Bentley, but this time, everything is different. The dress Lucian chose for her is black silk, elegant and expensive. It clings to her curves and falls to her ankles, making her look like she belongs in this world of wealth and power. Iris had done her makeup, her hair, transforming her from a tired waitress into something else. Something beautiful. Nervous? Lucian asks from beside her, terrified. Good. Use it. His hand finds hers in the darkness of the car. Remember what I told you. Tonight, you're not Cassidy the waitress. You're Cassidy Thorne, my partner, my equal. You walk into that restaurant and you own it. Thorne? The name catches her off guard. Do you object? She should. It's too fast, too presumptuous. But instead, she finds herself smiling. No, I don't object. The Bentley pulls up to Aurelius, and Cassidy sees the crowd of people waiting outside. The kind of people who wait hours for a table, who dress in their finest and hope for a glimpse of the elite. Matthias opens the door, and Lucian steps out first. Then he turns, extending his hand to Cassidy. She takes it, and the world explodes with camera flashes. Who is she? Someone shouts. Mr. Thorne, is this your girlfriend? What's her name? Lucian ignores them all. He keeps his hand on Cassidy's back, guiding her through the crowd, and when they reach the entrance, the doors swing open like magic. Inside, the restaurant falls silent. Every conversation stops. Every head turns. And Cassidy sees the exact moment when recognition hits. Marcus is standing by the host stand, and his face goes white. The servers she used to work with stare with their mouths open. The diners she used to serve pause with forks halfway to their mouths. Lucian leads her through the dining room to table 12, the corner booth reserved for the elite. The same table where he sat and watched her drop plates and tremble with fear, but this time Cassidy sits beside him, as an equal. A server rushes over and Cassidy recognizes her. Nina, one of the few who'd been kind when she worked here. Nina's eyes are wide with shock. Mr. Thorne, she stammers. What can I get you? A bottle of your best champagne. Lucian's voice carries through the silent restaurant. We're celebrating. Celebrating what, sir? Lucian looks at Cassidy, and his smile is pure satisfaction. The fact that I've found my queen. The words ripple through the room like a shockwave. Cassidy hears the gasps, the whispers. She sees Marcus's face go from white to red, and then Lucian does something she doesn't expect. He stands, pulling Cassidy to her feet with him. "I want to make an announcement," he says, his voice projecting to every corner of the restaurant. "Many of you know me. Lucian Thorne, owner of this establishment and several others in the city. What you don't know is that I've recently found someone extraordinary. Someone who worked in this very restaurant. Someone who showed more grace and strength in the face of adversity than anyone I've ever met." He turns to Cassidy, and his expression is tender. "Cassidy was a waitress here. You probably saw her. Probably ignored her. Probably never gave her a second thought. But I did. I watched her fight. I watched her endure. And I decided that someone that remarkable deserved to be recognized." Lucian raises her hand to his lips, kissing her knuckles. "So, I'm announcing tonight that Cassidy is no longer a waitress. She is my partner, my companion, my treasure. And anyone in this city who treats her with anything less than the utmost respect will answer to me personally." The silence is absolute. Then slowly, someone begins to clap. Then another, and another, until the entire restaurant is applauding. Cassidy's eyes sting with tears. Not from humiliation this time. From validation. From triumph. Lucian pulls her close, his lips brushing her ear. "You see? You're not invisible anymore. You never will be again." And then the doors burst open. Devon stands in the entrance, wild-eyed and desperate. He's holding something in his hand. Something that glints in the candlelight. A knife. "Cassidy!" he shouts, and his voice is raw. "You think you can just leave me? You think you can hide behind some rich bastard?" The restaurant erupts in chaos. People scramble from their seats. Servers duck behind tables. But Lucian doesn't move. He simply steps in front of Cassidy, putting himself between her and Devon. "You must be the stalker," Lucian says, and his voice is cold as death. Devon's eyes are crazy, unfocused. "Get away from her. She's mine." "No." Lucian's word cracks like a whip. "She's not. She's mine. And you're going to leave now, before I make you leave. You can't tell me what to do." Devon lunges forward, the knife raised. He doesn't make it 3 steps. Lucian moves faster than the eye can follow. One moment he's standing in front of Cassidy. The next, he has Devon pinned against the wall, one hand around his throat, the knife clattering to the floor. "Listen to me very carefully," Lucian says, and his voice is soft, dangerous. "You're going to leave Seattle tonight. You're going to leave Washington. You're going to go somewhere very far away and never, ever come back. Because if I see you again, if I hear that you've contacted Cassidy, if I even suspect that you're thinking about her, I will end you. Do you understand?" Devon's face is purple, his eyes bulging. He manages a strangled nod. "Good." Lucian releases him, and Devon crumples to the floor, gasping. "Matthias will escort you to the airport. You have 1 hour to collect your things. After that, if you're still in the city, you're mine." 2 security guards appear from nowhere, hauling Devon to his feet. He doesn't resist. He just stares at Lucienne with absolute terror. As they drag him away, Lucienne turns back to Cassidy. "Are you all right?" She's shaking, but not from fear. From adrenaline, from relief, from the sheer, overwhelming reality that it's over. "I'm perfect," she says. Lucian's expression softens. He pulls her into his arms, and Cassidy buries her face in his chest. Around them, the restaurant slowly returns to normal. Conversations resume. Servers emerge from hiding. Life goes on. But for Cassidy, everything has changed. She's not invisible anymore. She's not afraid anymore. She's not alone anymore. She's Cassidy Thorne, and she's exactly where she belongs. Later that night, back at the estate, Lucienne and Cassidy stand on the balcony of his room, looking out over the grounds. The moon is full, casting silver light over everything. "Thank you," Cassidy says softly. "For what?" "For seeing me, when no one else did." Lucian pulls her against him, his chin resting on her head. "I'll always see you, Cassidy. From now until the end of time itself. That's a long time. Good. He turns her to face him, and his eyes glow in the moonlight. Because I plan to spend every moment of it with you. And as he kisses her, Cassidy realizes that she's found something she didn't even know she was looking for. Not just safety, not just security, but home. With a vampire who saw her when she was invisible, who protected her when she was vulnerable, who loved her when she thought she was unlovable. And as the night stretches out before them, full of possibility and promise, Cassidy knows one thing for certain. This is only the beginning. 3 weeks pass in a haze of silk sheets and whispered promises. Cassidy learns what it means to live in Lucien's world. She attends galas where diamonds are as common as breathing. She sits in on business meetings where millions change hands with a handshake. She discovers that being loved by a vampire means being consumed by him, body and soul, and she finds she doesn't mind the consumption at all. But tonight, something is wrong. Cassidy feels it the moment she walks into Lucien's study. He's standing at the window, his posture rigid, and when he turns to look at her, his expression is carved from stone. "What happened?" she asks. "My brother is coming." The words are simple, but the weight behind them makes Cassidy's stomach drop. "I didn't know you had a brother." "I don't talk about him." Lucien's jaw tightens. "For good reason. Tell me." So he does. He tells her about Dante, turned the same night Lucien was, 200 years ago. Brothers in blood and death. But where Lucien had adapted to immortality with restraint, had built an empire through patience and strategy, Dante had embraced the monster. He'd left a trail of bodies across Europe before the Vampire Council had exiled him to the Far East. "He's been gone for 70 years, Lucien says, and his voice is hollow. "I thought maybe he'd finally met his end. But yesterday I received word. He's in Seattle, and he's asking to see me." "Why?" "That's what worries me." Lucien crosses to her, taking her hands. Dante doesn't do anything without reason, and his reasons are never good. "When is he coming?" "Tonight. Here." Lucien's grip tightens. "Cassidy, I need you to understand something. My brother is dangerous in ways I'm not. He doesn't have my control. He doesn't have my restraint. And if he sees you, if he realizes what you mean to me, he'll use me against you." "Yes," Cassidy lifts her chin. "Then I'll be ready. You don't understand. Dante isn't like the threats you've faced before. He's immortal. He's powerful. And he enjoys causing pain." "So do you," Cassidy says softly, "when it's necessary. I've seen you, Lucien. I've seen what you're capable of. The difference is you choose when to unleash it. Your brother doesn't." Something flickers in Lucien's eyes. Pride, maybe, or fear. "I won't let him hurt you." "I know." Cassidy pulls him down to kiss her. "Because we're in this together, remember? For better or worse. Those are wedding vows. Consider it practice." Lucien's laugh is sharp and surprised, and for a moment the tension breaks. Then his expression sobers. "Stay close to me tonight. Don't leave my side, no matter what he says or does." "I won't." They don't have to wait long. An hour later, as the sun dips below the horizon, Iris appears at the study door. Her face is pale. "Mr. Thorne, your brother has arrived?" Lucien stands, and Cassidy stands with him. They walk together to the main hall, and that's where Cassidy sees him. Dante Thorne is beautiful in the way a blade is beautiful. Sharp, cold, deadly. He has the same dark hair as Lucien, the same angular features, but where Lucien's eyes hold depth and control, Dante's eyes are empty. Void-like, like looking into an abyss that looks back with hunger. He's wearing a blood-red suit that probably costs a fortune, and he's smiling like a wolf who's just spotted a lamb. "Brother," he says, and his voice is silk over razors. "It's been too long. Not long enough." Lucien's tone is flat. "What do you want, Dante?" Is that any way to greet family? Dante's gaze slides past Lucian and lands on Cassidy. His smile widens. But I see you've been busy. How delightful. And who is this lovely creature? None of your concern. Oh, but she is. Dante takes a step closer, and Cassidy feels Lucian tense beside her. You've always been so careful, brother. So controlled. So determined to play by the rules. But this... He gestures at Cassidy. This is a weakness. And weaknesses can be exploited. Touch her, and I'll end you. There's the Lucian I remember. Dante's laugh is cold. The one who still has fire in his veins. I was beginning to think you'd gone soft, building your little empire, playing human. But no. You're still a predator. You've just gotten better at hiding it. State your business or leave. Dante's expression shifts, the amusement fading. Very well. I need your help. The words hang in the air like a bomb waiting to detonate. Lucian's voice is sharp as glass. Why would I help you? Because if you don't, the council will come for you too. Dante's smile is gone now, replaced by something colder. I've made some enemies in Asia. Powerful enemies. They've petitioned the council for my execution, and the council has agreed. But here's the interesting part, brother. They've decided that you're responsible for me. That's absurd. Is it? You're the one who made me, the one who turned me. By their laws, my actions reflect on you. My crimes are your crimes. Dante spreads his hands. So either you help me disappear, help me evade the council's judgment, or they'll come for both of us. You'll lose everything. This house, this empire, this pretty little human you've claimed. Cassidy feels Lucian's fury like a physical thing, a pressure in the air that makes it hard to breathe. You did this on purpose. I did what I had to do to survive. And now, so do you. Dante's gaze flicks to Cassidy again. Unless you'd rather sacrifice everything for pride. I wonder, would she still love you when you're both running from the council? When you're hunted like animals? When you have to watch her grow old and die because you can't risk turning her while you're on the run? Get out. Lucian's voice is barely human now, something dark and ancient rising beneath the surface. Get out of my house before I forget we share blood. You have 3 days. Dante turns toward the door, then pauses. 3 days to decide if you're going to help me or lose everything. Choose wisely, brother. He's gone before Lucian can respond, disappearing into the night like smoke. The silence that follows is deafening. Cassidy touches Lucian's arm. Is he telling the truth? About the council? Probably. Lucian's hands are clenched into fists. The Vampire Council doesn't make idle threats. If they've sanctioned him, they will hunt him. And if they believe I'm responsible for his actions... He trails off, the implications clear. Then we fight them. Lucian looks at her like she's lost her mind. Fight the council? Cassidy, they're the oldest, most powerful vampires in existence. They've survived for millennia. Fighting them would be suicide. So what's the alternative? You help your brother escape justice? You become complicit in whatever horrors he's committed. The alternative is losing you. Lucian's voice cracks. The alternative is watching everything I've built crumble. The alternative is spending eternity running, never safe, never settled. I can't do that to you. Then don't. Cassidy steps closer, forcing him to look at her. We'll find another way. There is no other way. There's always another way. She takes his face in her hands. You're Lucian Thorne. You've survived 200 years by being smarter than everyone else. You've built an empire from nothing. You've outsmarted enemies and outmaneuvered rivals. Don't tell me you can't find a way out of this. Something shifts in Lucian's expression. The despair fades, replaced by calculation. The council responds to evidence. If I could prove that Dante acted alone, that I had no knowledge of his crimes, then they'd have no reason to come after you. But I'd need proof, Documentation, witnesses. Lucian's mind is racing now. She can see it. I'd need to build a case so airtight they couldn't dispute it. Then that's what we do. Cassidy's voice is steady. We have 3 days. We use them. Lucian pulls her against him, and his embrace is fierce. You're remarkable. Do you know that? You've mentioned it once or twice. The next 72 hours are a blur of phone calls and research. Lucian contacts every source he has, every informant, every ally. He digs through centuries of records, tracing Dante's path across continents, documenting every crime, every victim, every deliberate choice to embrace chaos. Cassidy helps where she can, organizing documents, cross-referencing dates, building a timeline that proves beyond doubt that Dante acted alone. That Lucien not only had no involvement in his brother's crimes, but had actively tried to stop him decades ago. On the 3rd day, as the deadline approaches, Lucien sits back from his desk and exhales slowly. It's done. Are you sure? As sure as I can be. He looks at the mountain of evidence they've compiled. I've sent copies to every member of the council. If they're reasonable, if they look at the facts, they'll see that Dante is solely responsible for his actions. And if they're not reasonable? Lucian's expression hardens. Then we run. Together. But they don't have to run. That evening, as the sun sets and the 3-day deadline expires, Lucien receives a message. Not from Dante. From the council. Cassidy watches as he reads it, his expression unreadable. Then, slowly, he looks up at her. They've accepted the evidence. Dante's sanction stands, but mine has been lifted. I'm no longer considered responsible for his actions. His voice is rough with relief. We're safe. Cassidy's knees go weak. What about Dante? He's on his own. The council's hunters are already tracking him. He won't survive the month. Lucian sets the message aside and pulls Cassidy into his arms. It's over. We're safe. You're safe. She buries her face in his chest, feeling the tension drain from her body. We did it. You did it. You're the one who believed there was another way. You're the one who refused to let me give up. Lucian tilts her face up to his. You saved me, Cassidy. In more ways than one. That's what partners do. Yes. His smile is soft, genuine. That's exactly what partners do. That night, they stand on the balcony of Lucian's room, looking out over the grounds. The moon is full again, casting silver light over everything, and Cassidy feels a peace she hasn't felt in years. I've been thinking, Lucian says, breaking the comfortable silence. About what? About forever. He turns to face her, and there's something in his expression that makes her heart race. You said you weren't ready to be turned, to become what I am. But when you are ready, if you are ever ready, I want you to know that the offer stands. Not because I want to possess you, but because I can't imagine eternity without you. Cassidy's throat tightens. Ask me again in a year. A year? I want to live first. Really live. I want to see the world with you. I want to learn what it means to be loved by you. And then, she smiles, then I'll give you my answer. And if your answer is no, then you'll love me until my last breath, and you'll let me go. She touches his face, but I don't think my answer will be no. Lucian's smile is radiant. Neither do I. He kisses her under the moonlight, and Cassidy thinks about the girl she was 3 weeks ago. Trembling, afraid, invisible. That girl is gone now, replaced by someone stronger. Someone who faced down stalkers and vampire councils and found her place in a world she never knew existed. She's Cassidy Thorne. She's loved by an immortal, and she's exactly where she's supposed to be. When they finally pull apart, Lucian takes her hand. Come with me. There's one more thing I want to show you. He leads her back through the mansion, down stairs she's never descended before, to a door that looks like it belongs in a medieval castle. He opens it, and beyond is a vault. Inside, on a pedestal of black marble, sits a single object. A ring. Not ostentatious. Not dripping with diamonds. Just a simple band of white gold with a single ruby set in the center. "This belonged to my mother," Lucian says quietly. "It's the only thing I kept from my human life. The only thing that mattered." He picks up the ring, turning it in his fingers. "I've kept it for 200 years, waiting for someone worthy of wearing it." Cassidy's breath catches. "Lucienne, I'm not asking you to marry me. Not yet. You need your year. You need time to be sure." He slips the ring onto her finger and it fits perfectly. "But I want you to have this. I want you to know that when you're ready, when you've lived and learned and decided what you want from eternity, I'll be here, waiting, hoping, loving you." The ruby glows in the dim light, blood red and beautiful. Cassidy looks at it, then at Lucian, and feels tears slide down her cheeks. "I love you," she whispers. "I know." His smile is tender. "I've known since the night you agreed to stay. Since the moment you looked at me and saw not a monster, but possibility." They stand in the vault, surrounded by 2 centuries of history, and Cassidy realizes that she's become part of that history, part of Lucienne's story, part of something bigger than herself. And when they return to the balcony, when they watch the sun begin to rise over the grounds, Cassidy knows with absolute certainty that she's found what she was looking for all along. Not rescue, not salvation, but partnership, love, home, with a vampire who saw her when she was invisible, who protected her when she was vulnerable, who loved her when she thought she was broken beyond repair. And as the first rays of sunlight paint the sky gold and pink, Cassidy leans against Lucian's chest and smiles.